Pause for a moment and remain fully present here. Not because anything is forcing your attention, not because anything is chasing you, but because certain moments carry a subtle feeling that they deserve stillness rather than distraction. Out of countless movements, endless thoughts, and constant shifts of focus, you are here reading these words right now. That alone is worth noticing. Take a slow breath. Allow your awareness to soften gently. Life moves in patterns we rarely stop to observe. Decisions forming quietly. Changes unfolding gradually. Paths shifting without dramatic announcements. Yet sometimes, awareness catches a moment that feels slightly different from the rest. A pause. A feeling. A subtle recognition that something is changing. Take another slow breath. Notice how breathing continues effortlessly. Each inhale arriving naturally. Each exhale releasing gently. There is a quiet rhythm supporting this moment, steady and unbroken. Thoughts may continue moving through your mind. Let them move. There is no need to silence the mind. Stillness is not about stopping thought. Stillness is about observing without resistance. When nothing is pushed away, perception begins widening naturally. Consider how often life transitions occur long before they are consciously recognized. A shift in perspective. A change in priorities. A quiet inner movement preparing for something new. Not sudden. Not loud. But gradual and steady. Take another slow breath. Remain gently aware. You may begin sensing a subtle sense of forward motion within awareness itself. Not physical movement, but the quiet feeling of transition. The sense that something is evolving beneath the surface of everyday thoughts. Nothing rushing. Nothing forcing. Everything unfolding naturally. Notice how differently this moment feels when attention is not scattered. The mind often races ahead, planning, predicting, imagining possibilities. Yet awareness reconnects perception to a steadier rhythm. Presence sharpens clarity. Clarity softens tension. Stillness stabilizes perception. Take another slow breath. Feel grounding deepen quietly. Life rarely reveals its direction through noise. The clearest signals often emerge through calm observation. When mental urgency fades, subtle insights become easier to notice. Thoughts drift more lightly. Sensations pass more smoothly. Attention steadies naturally. Take another slow breath. Remain here calmly. There is a quiet intelligence within transitions. A natural unfolding that does not depend on pressure. Paths shift gradually. Opportunities align silently. Change often begins long before it becomes visible. Nothing here demands urgency. Nothing here requires tension. Only awareness inviting observation. Take another slow breath. Notice how stability now feels deeper. Less fragile. Less reactive. Calmness becomes the background rather than the goal. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is clarity without strain. Stillness is balance without effort. Take another slow breath. Remain gently aware. Because sometimes the most meaningful experiences are not dramatic events arriving suddenly. They are subtle recognitions. Quiet moments where perception realigns and awareness senses movement beneath stillness. Life continues moving forward. The mind continues generating thought. Yet awareness remains steady beneath both. Take another slow breath. Feel the quiet continuity supporting this moment. Notice how mental movement feels lighter when nothing is resisted. Thoughts arise. Thoughts dissolve. Awareness remains unchanged. Nothing to chase. Nothing to control. Nothing to force. Only presence unfolding naturally. Take another slow breath. Remain calm. Remain aware. Remain steady. Because often the greatest transitions do not feel like dramatic leaps. They feel like subtle shifts. Gentle realignments. Quiet moments where clarity gradually replaces noise. Stay here gently. Breathing steady. Attention relaxed. Awareness open. Allow perception to soften. Allow clarity to deepen. Allow stillness to stabilize naturally. Everything flowing gently. Everything moving quietly. Everything unfolding at its own perfect rhythm. Stay with this moment just a little longer. There is no rush here, no pressure demanding movement, only awareness quietly observing itself. Notice how easily attention can remain steady when nothing is forcing urgency into the mind. Take a slow breath. Feel how natural that was. Life rarely pauses, yet awareness always can. Beneath every decision, every thought, every direction you move toward, there exists a silent space where clarity forms long before action follows. Most people move through that space without ever recognizing it. But recognition changes perception. Take another slow breath. Observe the stillness behind your thoughts. Even as the mind continues its quiet commentary, something deeper remains unmoved. That steady presence has always been there, unnoticed, constant, calm. Consider how many moments in life felt ordinary at first, only to later reveal themselves as turning points. A simple thought. A subtle feeling. A quiet awareness that something unseen was shifting. Not dramatic. Not loud. But undeniable once recognized. Take another slow breath. Feel grounding deepen. The mind often searches for certainty in visible signs, yet the most reliable signal Stay with this stillness a little longer. Something subtle is happening now, something that only becomes noticeable when attention stops rushing ahead. Take a slow breath. Feel the quiet steadiness forming. Most people never reach this layer of awareness. They remain caught in constant reaction, chasing thoughts, resisting emotions, drifting between distractions. Rarely do they pause long enough to feel the underlying current beneath mental noise. But you are here. Take another slow breath. Notice how awareness now feels heavier, more grounded. Not tense, not forced, simply stable. Like standing on solid ground after moving through turbulence. There is a reason this feels different. Take another slow breath. Observe carefully. When the mind stops fighting for control, perception sharpens. Subtle impressions that once seemed invisible begin to take form. Not as clear answers, but as quiet recognitions. A sense. A shift. A silent movement. Take another slow breath. Remain steady. Something interesting about transitions, they rarely announce themselves loudly. Change often begins internally, long before external reality reflects it. A subtle rearrangement of thought, emotion, energy, direction. Like a compass slowly adjusting. Like alignment occurring beneath awareness. Take another slow breath. Notice how calmness now feels deeper, more natural. The need to anticipate fades. The urge to force meaning softens. Perception stabilizes without effort. And within that stability, something becomes clearer. Take another slow breath. Feel it carefully. There are moments when awareness recognizes that something significant is forming, even if it cannot yet be defined. No dramatic signal. No sudden revelation. Just a quiet certainty that something unseen is shifting. Like movement beneath stillness. Like change beneath silence. Take another slow breath. Stay present. Feel how attention now resists distraction more easily. Thoughts arise but carry less weight. Noise appears. Holds less power. Awareness begins to anchor itself naturally. This is important. Take another slow breath. Because perception at this depth operates differently. It no longer reacts impulsively. It observes patterns. It senses direction. It detects subtle shifts long before they become obvious. Take another slow breath. Remain calm. Notice the subtle tension between curiosity and patience. The mind wants conclusions. Awareness allows unfolding. The more you remain steady, the clearer subtle recognition becomes. Take another slow breath. Feel grounding deepen. Something is reorganizing quietly. Not externally, not dramatically, but internally, where every meaningful shift truly begins. Alignment is rarely loud. It is felt. Take another slow breath. Stay here. Feel how stability now feels almost effortless. Like awareness has settled into a natural rhythm, observing without strain, perceiving without resistance. And within that rhythm, something feels undeniably different. Take another slow breath. Notice it. Perhaps a quiet clarity. Perhaps a subtle certainty. Perhaps a faint but growing sense of direction. No need to define it. Recognition does not require labels. Take another slow breath. Remain aware. Because sometimes awareness understands before thought explains. A silent internal knowing, not constructed, not imagined, simply sensed. Like remembering something never consciously learned. Take another slow breath. Let attention soften. Stillness revealing deeper layers. Calmness strengthening perception. Awareness expanding without effort. Take another slow breath. Remain present. Everything moving. Everything aligning. Everything quietly unfolding beneath awareness. Something has shifted now, not loudly, not dramatically, but in a way that feels impossible to ignore. Awareness has settled deeper, and with that depth comes a different kind of perception. Take a slow breath. Feel the stillness holding you. There is a curious moment that happens when the mind stops searching and simply observes. The usual noise fades into the background, and what remains is something far more precise, a quiet, focused clarity. Take another slow breath. Notice the stability. At this depth, awareness begins detecting patterns instead of reacting to impulses. Thoughts no longer rush uncontrollably. Emotions no longer pull attention without resistance. Everything feels slower, clearer, more deliberate. And within that clarity, something begins to emerge. Take another slow breath. Stay here. Most people misunderstand anticipation. They think it is excitement, nervousness, impatience. But true anticipation is quieter. It feels like subtle readiness, a sense that something is approaching without needing to force it into definition. Like the air before a shift. Like silence before movement. Take another slow breath. Observe carefully. Awareness now feels alert yet calm. Not tense, not passive. Balanced. Grounded. Stable. This is where perception becomes sharpest, when attention is steady but open. Take another slow breath. Feel it. There is a subtle difference between waiting and allowing. Waiting carries tension. Allowing carries confidence. Something about this moment feels less like delay and more like Both. Take another slow breath. Remain gently present. Sometimes clarity arrives not as an answer but as a shift in perception itself. A subtle realization that movement does not always require visible action. That transitions begin internally long before the external world reflects them. Nothing here asks you to predict. Nothing here asks you to decide. Only awareness inviting observation. Take another slow breath. Feel stability deepen quietly. Notice how perception becomes sharper when attention stops chasing thoughts. The mind relaxes. Awareness widens. Subtle impressions grow clearer without strain. Everything feels slightly more aligned. Slightly more balanced. Slightly more steady. Take another slow breath. Remain here calmly. Because not every meaningful moment announces itself dramatically. Some arrive softly, almost unnoticed, yet carry a quiet sense of significance that becomes clearer only through stillness. Awareness recognizes what noise cannot. Clarity emerges where tension fades. Stability strengthens where attention steadies. Take another slow breath. Feel the continuity of presence beneath every passing thought. Nothing rushing. Nothing collapsing. Only steady unfolding. Remain aware. Remain grounded. Remain steady. Because sometimes the most important shift is not something happening around you. It is something quietly stabilizing within perception itself, a calm recognition that clarity was never absent, only overlooked. Take another slow breath. Let awareness rest gently. Everything flowing. Everything steady. Everything unfolding naturally. Remain here for another moment. No urgency, no distraction, only awareness observing quietly. Stillness has a way of revealing things the restless mind cannot detect. Take a slow breath. Feel how easily attention returns. There is something interesting about perception. When the mind slows, subtle layers of awareness begin to surface, layers that are always present but rarely noticed amidst constant mental noise. Take another slow breath. Notice the difference between thinking and observing. Thinking pulls you into effort. Observing allows clarity to emerge without force. Most people move through life reacting automatically to thoughts, emotions, impulses, expectations. Very few pause long enough to witness the mechanism itself. But witnessing changes everything. Take another slow breath. Awareness sharpens quietly. Consider this carefully. Every decision you make, every direction you move toward, begins long before conscious reasoning explains it. Something deeper registers shifts before logic catches up. A subtle knowing. A quiet recognition. A faint but undeniable sense of movement. Take another slow breath. Remain steady. Notice how the mind tries to anticipate what comes next. It searches for conclusions, patterns, predictions. Yet clarity rarely responds to pressure. It appears when observation replaces expectation. Take another slow breath. Let attention soften. Feel how stability grows when nothing is being forced. Stillness is not emptiness. It is heightened awareness, perception free from interference. Something begins to feel clearer. Not defined. Not labeled. But sensed. Take another slow breath. Remain gently aware. There are moments when awareness detects change not as an event but as a shift in internal alignment. No dramatic signal. No sudden revelation. Just a quiet sense that something unseen is reorganizing itself. Like movement beneath stillness. Like clarity forming beneath thought. Take another slow breath. Notice grounding deepen. The interesting part is this: perception often recognizes transitions before the external world reflects them. What feels subtle now may later reveal itself as unmistakably significant. But significance rarely arrives loudly. It emerges gradually. Silently. Naturally. Take another slow breath. Remain calm. Feel the difference between tension and awareness. Tension contracts perception. Awareness expands it. As attention steadies, subtle impressions become more noticeable. Patterns feel less random. Thoughts feel less chaotic. Presence feels more stable. Take another slow breath. Stay here. There is no need to chase interpretation. Awareness functions best when it observes without trying to control. Meaning unfolds more clearly when perception remains steady. Take another slow breath. Notice how calmness now feels deeper, heavier, more grounded. Not passive. Not dull. But alert and centered. Something feels different. Slightly shifted. Quietly aligned. Take another slow breath. Remain aware. Because clarity often emerges not as information but as recognition. A subtle internal click, the feeling of understanding without mental struggle. Nothing forced. Nothing imagined. Simply realized. Take another slow breath. Let awareness rest. Stillness revealing what noise concealed. Calmness strengthening what distraction weakened. Perception stabilizing without effort. Take another slow breath. Remain present. Everything unfolding. Everything steady. Everything quietly aligning beneath awareness.